How you doing? Going live. 5, 4. We're live. We're live here at 5amMesterScrum. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach. And we're kind of late today because it's like 6:30 in the morning when I was doing some stuff this morning. And I always get up till I have too much things to do. So it is Thursday, almost done the week. Hope everybody is having a good week. We're here to talk about Agile and Scrum and business stuff. And you saw the little sign I have up here. We're going to do talk about Moscow a little bit, because you'd be amazed how many people don't know what that is. Everybody thinks everybody knows everything and it's out there. And I'm like, every time I go to a different place, different things come up that you think people knew about. So one of the two topics we'll talk about today, please like and subscribe, little thumbs up, share with your friends. And see where it goes. Anyway, it's late, I know. Quiet though. Anyway, so I want to talk about release planning and talk about Moscow. You saw that little fine. I don't know what had to draw a graphic or something. So I find it interesting. Everybody talks about, when you talk to these people about Agile and Scrum, and what's there, what's in the book, doesn't say it, you know. And I was looking at some old textbooks or training guides, and everybody talks about release planning. But release planning is one of the ceremonies in Scrum, which I find interesting. Everybody wants to say it's not written in Scrum, it doesn't exist. It's not written in the document, it doesn't exist. And I'm like, well, release planning is not a ceremony. It's not an event in Scrum. So I always find it funny that we teach everybody release planning, but it ain't in there, right? So there's a lot of stuff that's in these books, and everybody wants to say it's not explicitly said one way, whether it be any program. And if you don't do it exactly right that way, it doesn't work, or it's not quote pure Agile, it's not pure Scrum. But I just find it interesting how release planning is not in there. But I mean, it's backlog refinement, and you can use release planning as a tool or a mechanism or event to help you refine your backlog, but it's not release planning. And what everybody says, like, safe, and what's that, and the PI planning. Well, PI planning is really release planning on steroids, with a couple more stuff, and talks about more outside the team and putting lots of teams together, and you do it all together. So I just find it interesting how people can say one system doesn't work and this is bad in the other. So you're kind of doing it. I mean, I'm amazed how many people would say safe, not, would it safe, say so different. I'm like, well, it's kind of like release planning, where we lay out what we want to do each sprint. What can we do each sprint? What's our capacity? What's our analysis? Look for any dependencies, prioritize work based on technical and business type issues. But then the one nice thing is about NPI planning, how does one team react with another, and any dependencies, and how do you interact with that, and that all one day, which is good, which is great. But it's basically the same stuff. So I just thought I just want to make that point, that when everybody says things, take it with a grain of salt, that it needs to be that way, or it's really that much different, or it's so much more complicated. And like I was saying the other day about PMI or PMP stuff, and Six Sigma, and Agile and Scrum stuff, a lot of the things are in there, just called different tools or different ideas, but they're very similar in thought. So anyway, I just want to mention that about release planning. It's a real great tool and I'll do one day how to use that to help you promote your it's got to pop up for an ad, and I was just like, what's an ad? And how do you lay your work out, and use that release planning tool to help you with your backlog. So I'll do an episode on that for people doing planning and how to think about it. I want to do it early in the morning when there's no one here, and preferably not during a weekday. Anyway, so that's that. Then the other thing I want to talk about Moscow, right? I wrote Moscow here. Because there are, believe it or not, there's organizations I haven't heard about Moscow. And Moscow, it's spelt this way. It's not like, conspiracy with the Russians or anything like that. It's just Moscow. The M stands for must have. Yeah, O doesn't stand for anything. S, this is so you remember, right? The S stands for should have. C is for could have, because like we could put that capability into the system, but do we want it? And W, I give W like 3 definitions. Something I want, I would like. Okay, would like, type in sideways, would like running no space. And I would call it wish. This is like the gold plating. Right? So that's like gold plating, right? There we go. Now, so you do your priorities. Must-haves are things you really do in your sprint. The should-haves is like you should because it's really important for the system to work. Could help you out. I mean, we could have this capability. Maybe it makes the user experience a little better, right? And wish is your wish list. I add a couple more things to here. In here, I put immediate, and I did a blog post on this, return on investment. So must have is like the system's down, we got to fix this. If we don't do this, we don't make any money. In between the should have and the must have are items that provide immediate cash into organization. So like if we have a new product and we need to put it up on our in our catalog or something like that, and that's going to give us immediate return. It doesn't take much, but we get an immediate return. You do that, right? Because you always want to, I don't care what anybody says with the capitalism or investments and stuff, cash is still king, all right? So cash is important. So if it's going to bring cash in the organization, and I say this is like the cash kind of question, that's not a Moscow, but if it's bringing immediate ROI, that goes in there. Then between should and could, right in between here, I write saves money, right? So again, cash being king. I got immediate return on investment, saves money. Like if we do this, if I put automation test in for this one, we don't have to hire 5 new people. Or if we do this, we save 5 steps in the process. Or if we do something if we automate something that used to take 10 clicks on the screen, and now it's going to take 1 click and the computer's going to do it automatically, and that's going to save us money from the labor associated with that, then that's where you save money. And that's between the should have and the could haves, okay? And then I put 2 other ones in here. Actually, I put one more in here. The one I put in here, it's new customer. So between could haves and wish lists is a new customer stuff. The reason why I put this new customer down here below, if it's a new customer, it's raw. You don't know really if it's going to give you a return on investment. And I have a matrix. Maybe I'll do a matrix one day to kind of show how this, but it's in my blog post. But the new customer, the ability of getting return on investment with a new customer is a lower turnover rate, right? So you can go send something out to 1,000 customers and get a 1% hit rate that they actually buy something. Now you need to do it, but it's definitely, I would help an existing customer with their issue more as a higher priority than something that was a new customer. So the reason being, an existing customer, if you lose the existing, like if the could have may help existing customers to have a better environment and what they work in, right? So that's good. You want to retain. So this is like a retention thing, right? You want to improve so you can retain your customer just to make their experience better, right? But a new customer, you don't know if you're going to get that, but it's so much harder to get a new customer, right? It's very difficult. But to retain one, to lose a customer and then bring the customer back, I mean, it's like a job, right? They say in a job, once you start looking for a new job, you pretty much made your decision that you don't want to work there anymore. You're not going to be happy. So it's like the same thing with the customer. You want to make sure you're retaining customers before you go on after new customers, because if you can't retain your customer, it's going to be hard to get them back. But it also depends though too. There are some customers that cost you way more money than you make. You don't retain the customers that cost you more money than you make, because that's just doesn't make business sense. Maybe it's your software that's wrong, but there are customers out there that want you to do everything and they want everything done for free, and it just takes longer. So anyway, those are the two things I wanted to talk today about, stuff that's not in the book that does make sense and is applied in different ways. You just got to be open and visual why, this is the biggest thing I always see with people. People read these books and they go line by line, but they have no idea why people wrote that in the books, right? But you have to understand why they wrote that. So release planning is not in the book, but it makes sense. Moscow, not the city, but must have, should have, could have, would want, and wish to have, right? And then the three other little clarifications: immediate return on ROI because it's cash king, saves the company money. And then the last one would be attracting new customers, because it's a crapshoot sometimes with the new customer thing. So it doesn't necessarily guarantee you cash in your company. So with that, that'll be the end of 5amMesterScrum. We always going around different areas because I don't want to make it all one thing all the time and then turn off other people. Kind of mix it around for different activities and what's going on and what I hear out there. So with that, have a great day. Enjoy. Happy scrumming. And please like us and subscribe. Hit the little bell and share the YouTube. Oh, and yesterday I had issues with YouTube, so I couldn't get it on LinkedIn for some reason, so I did it later in the day. So you probably got stuff later. It didn't want to work, so I just said I'll do it later and let the bugs or whatever work its way through. So thumbs up. Have a great day. Take care. Have fun. Take care.